Hey, what's up, guys? I'm retired chef and YouTuber Brian Thomas Lagerstrom, and I'm with my wife, Lorn.
I'm the other half of this channel that you usually don't see.
And she's going to ask me some questions submitted by you guys on the Instagram app and on the YouTube community page. And we're going to get into it. It's going to get personal. It's going to talk about work stuff. We're going to introduce my new cat, Ruby, and my new colleague, Alex Ander.
Stick around for that. I think it's going to be good.
Let's do it.
Hey, B-Man, how many denim shirts do you own?
Currently 3. It's my largest fleet ever. I used to rock 1, and I would have to wash it a lot, or it would get, stinky because I would wear it every single day.
Do you keep in touch with any other YouTubers, and if so, who?
I have the numbers of a few, and I text and call or talk to a couple here and there.
Who? Name names.
Andrew with Binging with Babish, we've been in touch. He came to St. Louis and we hung out and had a great time. Internet Shaquille is a friend. I would think we're friends.
You're friends.
We're buddies.
Yeah.
He's my crush. I crush on him. And then Ethan Jabowski, he and I talk about once a month. We'll have like a 2-hour phone call talking about tube and just other stuff. And we've hung out a couple of times.
How do you stay so humble with all the growth you've achieved? Some other channels I've watched let it go to their heads, but not with your work.
Do you think I'm humble?
Yeah. We've had calls with people who are like, you're just a regular person. And we just look at each other like, what? Why wouldn't he be?
Well, the parasocial thing is weird. Like the creators that I look up to, not necessarily just food creators, but I'm very, very into YouTube. Almost all of the video entertainment that I watch is YouTube, not Netflix, not anything else. So if I were to run into one of those people in real life, they would feel like a celebrity to me. Even if they only have 30,000 subs or whatever, I've spent so much time watching them and I'm invested in the relationship in a way. So I get why people would have that sort of like, ooh, it's Brian.
How do you balance pro with what a normal person might actually do in terms of like designing recipes for the home cook?
My sister is a good barometer. I ask myself, would Jennifer do this? She's, I would say, relatively ambitious cook. She's really talented, but there is a real threshold for what she would do. If it's past that threshold, she'd be like, that's not for me. I have 2 kids. My life is hectic and I want to make something nice, but I don't want to spend 4 hours making it. Not to say that we don't ever go past that threshold. I'm just saying that when I'm approaching the Jennifer threshold, then I start to have to ask serious questions about like how relevant is this process for the home cook? Is this stupid? And how much better is this complexity really making the dish? Because you can add complexity all day. There's all kinds of ways that we would cook food in the restaurant that would never, ever make sense at home. And when I say that, I'm mainly talking about non-integral ways of cooking, meaning the dish is not all made at the same time and then it is combined at some later period. That's usually the way to solve a lot of problems texturally and to make sure everything in a final dish is perfectly cooked. But at home, every time you cook something separately, you're using a new pot or you're dirtying up a sheet tray or a spoon or whatever, and then you end up with a sink of 50 dishes. And for me, that's a really poorly designed recipe for the home cook.
In a restaurant, there is a dish pit and people to do those dishes.
Yeah.
Although here there is too. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But it's just, if the person cooking is going to be the person doing the dishes, it's not going to be a fun experience. It doesn't matter how good the thing is. If you have to do an hour's worth of dishes afterward and you dread that part, like I would like to avoid that as much as possible. That being said, there's always going to be those 10 of 10 recipes where you're just striving to achieve some kind of textural or like cooking excellence that just can't be achieved without a bunch of mess. But that's rare and maybe something you would only do once a year. These recipes are things that I want people to be kind of cooking on a weekly basis. And so for me, the sweet spot is always, what's the best possible thing we can make with the most intelligently designed process?
Do you have any thoughts on carbon steel pans?
I'm mid on them at best. I think that they fall somewhere in between cast iron and stainless steel and don't do either one the way I like it. Nothing really against them. It's just I've messed with them and they're a little bit more maintenance than I would like. The heat is a little bit more transient than I would like. For example, the stainless steel made-in pans that I use in a lot of the videos, they have 3 layers of, 5-ply, they're 5-ply stainless steel. So that holds heat really evenly and transfers it into food really evenly, and that's great. The carbon steel pans are just thinner, and so the heat goes into the pan faster and leaves the pan faster. I don't know if that's scientifically true. That's my experience with it. And it ends up kind of burning the food. The heat transfer is just too fast. You add in the maintenance element, and I'm not really sold, because the cast iron is also high maintenance, but it does certain things better than the carbon steel can.
And carbon steel isn't really that non-stick, so I don't even understand the point.
Exactly. I have a carbon steel wok that I like. I would give that an 8 out of 10. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend it. I would say have a trusty non-stick, have a couple of stainless pieces that you like, and have a cast iron.
Eggs, no.
You can. People are going to be commenting, I cook eggs in my carbon steel all the time. Totally, you can. It's just harder, and the product isn't as good as a non-stick pan. So, I mean, they're slightly less toxic, I guess, if you wanted to get into that. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I mean, some people say that their non-stick pans are bad for you.
We'll know in 20 years, hopefully.
If we make it that long.
Yeah. What inspired your knife design, and what's your most satisfying thing to prep with it?
So the knife was designed based on a couple of my favorite Hall of Fame knives. One is the Misono UX10. That's kind of a Japanese gyuto style knife that I really like. I've recommended it for other people to buy. It's just that it's kind of expensive, and there's some things about it that I would like to change. So the other knife that is the main inspiration is the Victorinox or Dexter Russell, like just stamped stainless steel, like total durable workhorse knife. So the knife is the form factor of a high-end Japanese knife, but made with, very rustic, very hardy materials that can be beat up like super hard. The thing that I don't love about Japanese knives is that they're higher maintenance, and you have to be kind of precious and take good care of them. So I wanted to design a knife that had like a really good feel in your hand, had the right silhouette, but also like one that you could just be a total meanie to and not have to worry about throwing it in the dishwasher. And then my favorite thing to cut with the knife, it cuts through tomatoes surprisingly well.
Even midair. In case anybody watching this doesn't know, Brian launched a knife, an 8-inch chef's knife.
Yeah, it's been for sale for like 3 weeks, and we've gotten really good feedback on it. People like it. I'm really proud of it. And I hope you guys like it. If you guys want to check it out, link in description, of course.
Do you know of any dope mocktail recipes?
That's a good question. I've been leaning pretty hard into mocktails over the last couple of years because I don't drink nearly as much as I used to. What's a mocktail we do often at home?
I mean, we just go for like wild sparkling waters.
Yeah, we have a vast collection of sparklers. If I was going to rank them, I would say I like bubbly grapefruit. That's at the top of the list.
Number 1.
Topo Chico squeeze of lime is obviously the best. If you disagree, spam the comments. There's this NA product called Ritual that has black pepper and green bell pepper extract in it, and it makes it feel kind of hot and vegetal, like an alcoholic tequila would be. Mm-hmm. So if you mix that with some Topo Chico, some lime juice, and agave.
Maybe a little element like citrus.
Ooh, baby. This video is not sponsored by them, but throw in some of the habanero lemon in that.
That's good.
Or around the rim. That's a good mocktail.
We get lazy though. We do sparkling water usually.
I'm chugging 3 to 4 a day.
It's true. So we have a 20-year-old who's been watching the channel and has asked a question. He has to get all of his own equipment and tools from scratch. So what are some necessary things that he needs? What should he avoid? Etc. He also loves the weeknighting meals.
Oh, cool. I made a video recently that was about equipping a kitchen for $300 USD, and that has pretty much everything you would need to cook most of the recipes on the channel, with the exception of some of the pizza recipes and some of the more gluten-focused baking recipes where you really need to develop a lot of strength, and you can only do that with a stand mixer. So yeah, I would say check out that video. You can get everything you need for $300 in that video. But yeah, you would definitely want to have a Dutch oven. You want to have a sheet tray. You want to have a usable knife. Again, link in description for that laggy 8-inch. And a few tools, spatulas and stuff. I'm really proud of that video. It's a little bit slower paced than our normal vids, and I sometimes have a hard time doing those long form, like, let's call them listicle style videos, and like being as authentically me in the voiceover or in the live talking as I would in like a scripted voiceover video. But I think it's a good vid. I think the value's there. So check that out. And thanks for watching, bro.
How did you and Lorn meet? I'm Lorn.
We met at a party, a small one of maybe
7.
6. Have we talked about this on the channel before?
We may have early on, but every time we do a Q&A, somebody asks.
Okay.
So
I was 20 and I was a total scrub, like not a very attractive man at the time.
I beg to disagree.
I had a little bit of an alt rocker, emo indie guy thing, meaning like really terrible haircut, skinny jeans that were probably female in variety.
We both wore the same size.
And I also like didn't have any money on me at the time. Like Lauren, after the party, we kind of hung out at this party of like 6 or 7 people.
Bonded over old school internet vids. I was just showing him vid after vid, funny vids, Winnebago guy, shoes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he thought I was funny.
I thought the videos you were showing me were funny.
Oh,
no, you're funny.
okay.
And then when it came time to leave, I didn't have any money to get home. Like I left my wallet at home or something. So Lauren had to pay.
He came skulking back into the party. I didn't even think like, oh, this loser. I was like, yay, he's back.
Yeah. So then Lauren paid for our cab back to the neighborhood where we both lived together. Actually, we lived like, we didn't even know it, but like 100 feet apart from each other.
It was literally, you could throw a stone and hit the other's apartment.
And we pinky swore in the cab to hang out again.
And then we did.
And now, how many years later?
So like 15.
15 years later, here we are in costume doing this YouTube video. It was just meant to be.
It really was. What are your favorite chefy or restaurant-y traditions from your food service days?
I would say I like the tradition of making a nice family meal for the crew. A lot of times family meal ends up being an afterthought and just something you have to throw together under stress at the last minute. And no one likes it when it's like that. It's just like a pile of slop that gets thrown up in a hotel pan like at 3:00 because you're in the weeds prep wise and you have to get back to work. But like once every couple of weeks, you're set up on prep going into a Saturday service or something because the restaurant's going to be closed on Sunday. So you're just burning through everything you've got in your drawer. So you have like extra time in the afternoon to put together something thoughtful. And some of my favorite restaurant experiences were that you get to kind of every station can kind of come together and put a new component up. So we would do like a big taco bar where I make carne asada and then somebody makes tortillas from scratch and somebody makes agua fresca and one of like Garmager is in charge of all the toppings and maybe a salad. And that just is fun because you finally have time to sit down and hang out with these people that you spend 12 to 15 hours a day with and enjoy a nice meal. And working in restaurants is not about enjoying food yourself, ever. So to get 15 to 20 minutes to hang out, enjoy a burger or a taco or something, it's just a good time.
So I just want to say soon, guys, I know you're waiting. We're going to bring in Chef Alex. We're going to introduce the cat, which was people cared a lot more about the cat than
they
us
should.
In this case.
She's an absolute bombshell.
She's a dream. And then we have a couple of sections that Brian doesn't know about. One of them I'm calling hot takes. We'll see. Before we get to that though, this is a comment more than a question, and it's been enjoying the extra thirst trap ad breaks. Thank you, King.
Is that a reference to my shirt being off in the Element ad?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
It was controversial to decide to leave that in or not. I'm not like in the best shape ever. So it's not like...
You look good.
It's not... There's not pecs there or abs, So, but thanks for saying that. People can see my half removed stupid tattoos.
I'm sorry to disappoint anyone who's waiting for a thirst trap in this ad. There is not.
There might
be
be.
one.
Stick around to the end. I mean, if people like it, I'm going to start doing it more.
Yeah, unless the idea of like saving money makes you thirsty, and it should.
And now seems like a great time to say thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Maybe there's a shirtless part of it. I don't know. We'll see.
There could be.
Here's a quick real life example of how Rocket Money recently saved me a bunch of money. I'm a big F1 fan, and in my area, one of the main ways to watch it is to subscribe directly to the Formula One TV app. Rocket Money recently told me that I have not one, but 2 active Formula One subscriptions, and that I've been paying an extra $11 a month for the entire season. That's over $90 in total. If you haven't heard of it, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you track your spending, lower your bills, cancel subscriptions, and overall just pay better attention to your money. Rocket Money shows me all of my recurring charges each month, and it even lets me cancel my subscriptions directly in the app. That's huge because I would rather eat an entire box of raw, uncooked pasta than spend even 1 minute on the phone with customer service. Seriously. I also love Rocket Money because they can help you negotiate your bills for stuff like phone or internet. Laura and I used to spend well over 5 or 6 hours a year working on that stuff. Rocket Money has helped their customers save up to $740 per year when they use all of the app's premium features. And they are up to over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. $500 million. So to save more and spend less, go to rocketmoney.com/Brian Lagerstrom or use the link in my description to get started for free. There, you can also sign up for premium and get a bunch more features. This is a super useful app. Again, if you want to try it, go to rocketmoney.com/Brian Lagerstrom to get started for free. Back to you, Potter. Thanks, Rocket Money. Next question.
Would you ever try cooking with those vegetarian meat substitutes and seeing if you can develop something tasty?
There was a brief period of time when I was a consultant for a large food company that I had to cook with a lot of one of those major brands of fake meat. And that experience ruined it for me. There's a weird fake meat smell that they put into it that it makes me feel kind of sick. And I honestly, this is not against people who like that product. It's like one of the most processed foods you could possibly eat. And it just, to me, doesn't taste very good. So hard no. I'm not into it.
If you were to move to a new country you weren't familiar with, what would you prioritize to get familiar with the cuisine and learn to cook it?
I guess it depends on the country. If I was moving to a place like Thailand, I would probably just eat around my house. The thing that was awesome about Bangkok especially is that every neighborhood had tons of local food just around. And it seemed like they weren't even really restaurants. It was just people who would cook some stuff in their home kitchen and sell it on their stoop. So if you want to get familiar with the local cuisine of like what people eat, that's the stuff. Because people on their way to work are just grabbing baggies full of noodles or fried chicken or whatever. And that seemed pretty authentically local.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I have a recipe for cracking the code. For Lorn and I, if we're going to travel to a new place and try and make some kind of attempt at understanding what the food is like there, the best is always to try and find somebody who lives there. Like when we were in Tokyo, we met up with a gal who watches the videos and she was super cool. She showed us around and gave us some feedback on what might be worth pursuing and what stuff was kind of for posers.
It's really hard to infiltrate when you don't speak the language and you're only there for a week. No matter how much research you do, we've just found that I think next time we just really want to meet up with somebody who's local.
Yeah. Here's a big question though is, I think so much, at least for me, so much of my life I've spent being like in pursuit of authenticity. And I'm not saying that's bad, but if you go and have an experience, whatever happens to you during that experience is authentic. You're in the place experiencing it. And I've just spent too much time focusing on like, what's the perfect version of Korean food that we need to go get? Like the most quintessential thing, the most authentic thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying there's no place for that, but I personally have put way too much stock in that instead of just being present and trying to have a good time and not worrying about, is this the best tonkatsu or the best cow soy I've ever had in my life? Because it doesn't matter. It just hits different when you're there. It doesn't have to be the best.
That's well said. Is there a recipe that you're just obsessed with and you're always trying to perfect?
It's a good question. I mean, for me, my head is always just 100% devoted to the recipe that I'm currently working on that week for that video. And I'm not really thinking about anything else. Over the long term, before I made recipe content full time and tried to develop recipes, there was something that was kind of stuck in my teeth and I was just trying to make it over and over and perfect it. But that always shifted. And
for a while in the beginning, it was bread. He was obsessed with sourdough, with shaping. Then it kind of was cheese.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was like fermentation stuff. And then eventually when I was working at the cafe, it was trying to figure out, the best version of all of the classic sandwiches and taking those to their fullest potential and soups, etc., salads. But then very quickly after that, I was in the recipe development world that I'm in now. So the recipe that I'm working on for that week's video is 100% what's in my mind. And that takes up all the space. So the recipe that I'm obsessed with trying to perfect right now is Thanksgiving turkey. We've made 8 or 9 in the last week, and we've got 5 or 6 more thawed in the fridge. So that's all I'm thinking about right now.
Even Alex has some turkeys thawing in his fridge. He's a good trooper.
Okay, we're just going to jump right into a new section of this Q&A where we introduce our newest employee and my longtime friend, Chef Alex.
Hello.
Welcome. All right, Lauren, do you want to ask Alex a couple of questions?
Yeah, we'll get you warmed up by just asking you the same question we just asked Brian, which is, do you have any recipes you're obsessed with at the moment and trying to perfect?
I think that a recipe that I've been super obsessed with and I continue to be super obsessed with is just anything braised. It's like a braised meat, more specifically like Italian sugo.
You're a meat boy like that, dude.
I am a meat boy.
So let's just introduce you. So your name's Alexander. It's your legal name. Thank you for being here. All right, so we'll just get into it. Alex, what is your background?
Brian, I just want a quick question. Who's the host here?
Go on.
Alex, what's your background? Can you tell people where you've worked? What's your deal? How'd you get into cooking?
So I'm from St. Louis, just lived in St. Louis pretty much my whole life. Kind of got started cooking at Steak and Shake. That was my first job. Shout out Steak and Shake. I was 16 years old, just ready to go. I remember like the first rush we ever had, I freaked out. And then worked from Pasta House after that, and then finally got my big break. I worked at a restaurant called Pastaria.
So then from there, like a year and a half later, you actually worked your way up to niche, and then we worked together for like 6 months or 4 months maybe. I left to go open Union Loafers. You stuck around a little while, and then you had surgery.
Yeah, I had a bilateral carpal tunnel surgery on both of my hands.
Dude, that's so brutal.
Yeah. And then I came back and was, whenever I was fully recovered, it was a 2-month recovery.
How does a young man get double carpal tunnel?
That's a great question. That's a really great question. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of colorful answers in the comments section about it.
Stress
What do you
finds
do?
ways to,
What do you do? Oh, stress.
I'll just say, like, there's plenty of people who did the same stuff I did with my hands, if not more.
So what's that?
Plenty of people who cooked. Plenty of people who played video games and whatever else that would maybe cause carpal tunnel. Get your mind out of the gutter. And
You're talking about jerking off.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Double, though.
There were plenty of people who did it way more than I did who don't have it. I think that it's maybe just genetics.
But you're good now.
And then, so you couldn't come back to niche because there weren't any spots available. So you ended up going over to Louis, which is one of the sickest restaurants in St. Louis. Shout out to Matt and Sean, by the way. And then you were the sous chef there for a couple years. Mm-hmm. You cooked out on the East Coast. You came back to Louis, and then you ended up running a restaurant out in the suburbs of St. Louis called Noda, which is like an Italian restaurant, right?
Yes.
So then from there, I reached out to Alex and first of all, I have been thinking about poaching him from a restaurant for a long time. It's been a long time coming. Like, I needed help really bad, and he was definitely my number one choice. It just the timing wasn't really working out on Lorn and I side. We weren't really ready to hire somebody, and Alex was at Louis, which Matt and Sean, the people who run Louis, are like two of my best friends. So
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, I would have never stolen him from there. Nothing against the people at Nodo. I just don't know them, so I'm a little bit more comfortable stealing their chef.
It all ended up working out.
Yeah. So I reached out to Alex and was like, hey, dude, I have this very specific opportunity for you to come and be a recipe developer / my culinary assistant, and you're going to be working in my house. What do you think? Your response initially was a little, I wouldn't say you were shy about it, but you were like, you didn't want to.
And he took it down to the
Definitely.
wire. We asked him to let us know, like we gave him like 5 days to decide, which isn't a
yeah.
lot, but we had to like text him that last night, like,
It felt
excuse
like
me.
3 months. I was like, Jesus,
Do you think
dude.
you might want to work with us?
I was like, this seems like a pretty good job.
It felt like that for me too. I mean, like we were at Noda, we were going to open up a second restaurant, and like the timing of everything, like honestly, I mean, couldn't have been better, but also couldn't have been worse. Like it was like,
You were right on the cusp of like making a big commitment to these other people.
yes.
Then you kind of had to decide, am I going to stick around and do what I said I was going to do, which is help them open this restaurant, or am I going to kind of prioritize my lifestyle? And
Yeah.
Did those employers ever make you wear a red wig?
this was optional. I said you don't have to wear the wig.
He was into the wig.
No, I think I was the one who was trying to get who was showing up to work in a red wig.
Okay. Okay, good. Continue.
I think I was the one crazy in that situation. But
I just want everyone to know that the wig, it was optional. It was a strong preference from my part that he wear it, but I wasn't like, hey, dude, you got to wear a wig at work today.
Speaking of which, I think this is a good time. You can remove the wig and put on your hat if you want.
Wow.
But only because we said you can.
Like I said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Alex, does your new employer make you say yes, chef aggressively when he speaks to you?
He doesn't make me. But there's definitely some times where yes, chef gets uttered quite a few times.
This is a yes chef atmosphere. But
Yeah.
it's kind of,
It's
we're not
more,
too serious about it.
It's more cute, like yes, chef.
I don't have to say yes, chef, and yeah, it's not like I have to call Brian chef. Like it's not that kind of culture. We say yes, chef more ironically than.
But there are things you guys say, like sharp behind. That's just for practical reasons.
Opening.
I do that at the grocery store.
We came up in the industry in a specific restaurant where saying yes chef and we chef was the norm and required. So I think that, so when I showed up at Niche, everyone was saying we chef, not yes chef, saying we chef. And I was like, yo, this is stupid. I hate this so much. Because in Chicago, all the places I worked, the only person you would call chef was the chef. And, that was serious. And you would never say, hey, Andrew, you weren't on a first name basis. It was very respect based thing. But yeah, coming to St. Louis, it was a we chef environment. And I was like, this is pretty stupid. I don't like this. But then eventually it kind of grew on me. We called the dishwasher chef. The delivery people were chef. And then years later, now we use it in kind of a joking way to feel empowered, I guess.
You're taking back the words.
We're taking it back for us, dude. Yeah. So, but it's also just fun. Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Thanks, chef.
We chef.
We chef.
Alex, in your opinion, who's funnier, Brian or Lauren?
Yeah, dude, I'm really curious to hear what you think about that.
Well, I don't want to pitch you guys against each other.
Out of 1 out of 10.
So
Rate
I
us.
mean, I'm not going to do that. But, I would say just because of how we both came up, I would say that I do find myself laughing at Brian.
Interesting.
You would.
Interesting.
You would.
That's because we have the same kind of dark.
I don't make wiener jokes enough, is what he's trying to say.
I'm laughing just thinking about a wiener joke.
We're like two 12-years-olds whenever we're hanging out. It's just just wiener jokes.
We
about
both
jokes.
like to swear a lot.
Yeah.
And
Alex, you do impressions, not professionally, but here you do he's an impressionist. Do you have any that you would like to share? I'm really putting him on the spot.
Yeah, no. So actually, this is a big thing that people will be like, hey, do your this person accent, and the thing is,
you can't do it on the spot.
I can't do it on the spot.
How dare you put him on the spot? How dare you?
It has to
I understand.
It has to be organic.
I'm sorry.
It has to be
But just know,
That's rude.
Just know he has impressions. They're funny. Well, Alex, I know you have some turkeys to check on, but thank you for subjecting yourself
Thanks
to this
for being
today.
here, bro.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the job also.
Next question. Come on, dude. The turkeys are not going to check themselves.
You're supposed to say we chef.
We chef. We chef.
Thank you. Alex had to go check on turkeys, so he's going to get back to working on that recipe, and we're going to keep goofing here. Next question.
What recipes or techniques have you discovered since creating the channel that have influenced your regular home cooking the most?
Man, I wish I could come up with a specific technique that has changed. I will just say that over the last 4.5 years, I have gotten so much better at cooking, and my understanding of the levers you can pull to make food better is much wider. I mean, we've worked on hundreds of recipes, 350 recipes or something at this point, and I thought I had the talent and the know-how before, but I really didn't, especially when it comes to baking recipes. And I mean, there's just so many techniques that I know now that I didn't know before. I knew how to cook in restaurants, which is different. Like I said before, there's lots of non-integrated cooking going on. So I can cook individual items perfectly, and then I have a mind to combine them in a way that is effective in a restaurant service context. But the building of flavors in one pot, and how to make souffle, how to make quiche, all that stuff, I don't know, it's just advanced recipes that I had never really messed with as a professional cook. And so all of it, I guess, I don't know, it's really changed the way I cook. It's just all the development.
Do you guys have kids?
We don't.
No.
We have 2 cats. One's named Kiku. One is named Ruby. Where is Ruby? There she is. Grab the sweetie.
We're gonna grab Ruby.
Grab my sweetie. Ooh. Look at her.
Oh, this is Ruby.
Can you see Ruby?
She's the sweetest angel. Let's see if we can get her to do a trick.
No.
You don't want to. We're gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna get her.
Hello, Ruby. What's it like living here? I love it. I love it. Oh, it's getting spicy, people. Ruby, no. So we have cats instead of kids. Why don't we have kids?
I don't think either of us want them enough to justify having them. I think you should have a deep desire to.
Yeah.
And neither of us were ever called.
Respect to people who do have kids.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people who doesn't have kids who thinks that I'm saving the world by not growing the population. I think it's an awesome thing to do if that's what you want to, how you want to invest your energy on Earth. All the people I know who have kids love it. They're big fans of having a family. I like having a family. I think I'm definitely afraid of the commitment of having kids. It's like a deep-seated flaw that I need to work on in therapy, probably. I wouldn't say flaw, but it's a FOMO thing. And it's probably selfish, but I'm not ready to commit.
Yeah, I just literally, as a little girl, I just knew. I didn't even like kids when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure.
I like kids now.
I do now. We have nephews. Brian's sister, who we talk about often, Jennifer. Hi. They have 2 boys. We love them to death. That's why we're dressed like this today. And we're just dumping all of our energy into them, hoping that they'll be at our bedsides when we die. So
yeah. So Leo and Jack, I need you at the nursing home. I need you.
Someone needs to visit us.
Yeah.
Please. Brian, why did you get rid of the slow-mo dancing at the end of the videos?
Oh, God. Guys, I don't want to get painted into a box here. You know what I'm saying? I did it a couple hundred times. People liked it. And I get that when it comes to being successful on YouTube, repeating the same stuff over and over is just good. People feel comforted by you being the same indefinitely. And I don't want to make it too serious. It's just that if I'm being totally honest, it's that I've had a hard time over the last year being motivated for health reasons. And when you're feeling like shit, turning on the camera and dancing in slow-mo is a challenge. Even though it might make you feel better, it's just, we've had some dark days trying to bust stuff out when I'm not feeling good. So that was kind of why I stopped. But then once I stopped doing it, I was like, okay, going back, it feels inauthentic now.
That chapter is closed.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So I don't think it's going to come back. Sorry, guys.
Unless just it strikes. Sometimes
I'm feeling right.
The crew is here. Alex is pumping some jams and we're just feeling it. So it's like, let's move a little.
Yeah. That's where it came from
if
initially.
It happens, though, now you'll know it's real.
Yeah. There was a while, though, where I was faking it. And you guys don't want that, right?
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But on that topic, I don't think we've really ever talked about it before. And it's a real thing. Especially in the last year with the YouTube burnout thing being in the zeitgeist. Do you want to share your health story?
Yeah. If people are here for that, I'll share. So, yeah, I've had a pretty hard time over the last year and a half. My mom passed away in end of 2022, the very last days of 2022. That really shook me up. My grandpa, one of my best friends, they all died in a 6-month period. And that sucked a lot, and that was weighing on me. And then at the same time, I was in a real growth mindset with this YouTube channel, and I wanted to do whatever it took to get the amount of subscribers or the amount of cash flow from the channel to make me feel like I had achieved some level of success or some level of stability or financial safety or something. And so we committed to making 2 videos a week because at the time that seemed like the best call to grow as quickly as on YouTube, get the reps in, figure out how to make good videos. And early on I was totally addicted to that and I loved it. And push. I worked 7 days a week for 2 straight years, maybe longer. And that stopped being a viable strategy after these people in my life passed away. The stress of all of this pressure to get the videos out, which was self-imposed, I know, but it was still the person I was could not let go of the need to be publishing twice a week. Because I felt like the channel would slide back and people would stop watching, or I wouldn't have the money I need to keep going, or I'd be missing out on the opportunity that I could if I just kept pushing. And my grind mindset from the restaurant, my ability to do hard things almost indefinitely was getting me through that. And before life got hard on a personal level with the people passing away, I could handle it. And then all of a sudden one day, like I could not. So I started getting like chronic symptoms. It started with brain fog. And a lot of people, I think well-meaning people would, they would say, oh, I understand. I feel brain fog too when I'm hungover or when I'm too tired or whatever. And I appreciated all that at the time, but it also made me so upset because it was not the same. This was a type of thing that it feels like you're underwater in a cloud of confusion every minute of every day, and it doesn't get better. It actually gets worse, and it makes you feel super alienated and deep personal, like you're detached from reality. It's like pretty scary. And that's how I was feeling for months at a time, 2 or 3 months. And it was only getting worse. And my personality was like, I need to figure this out. I need to solve this problem because I am losing performance at work. And so I kept trying to make the 2 videos. I kept trying to push even through not feeling great at the time, having this brain fog.
I will also add, so you don't forget, you also read the book Outlive and were like, dude, I know, I need to send it harder.
Yeah. So I was doing the Peter Attia exercise recommendations, which is like 4 days a week of heavy hypertrophy training, 3 days a week of like zone 2 hard cardio, or not hard cardio, but like sustained zone 2 cardio. And yeah, then we were playing pickleball on top of this, no recovery, pure stress, and not dealing with grief.
But it's also like at the time, your mindset and mine too toward you was like, you're young, you can handle it. You're fit, whatever.
Yeah. And I've just been grinding for years. And I'm like, that's my whole personality is working hard. Truly, like I define myself as the hardest working person. I can bust it out. I can suffer. I can get it done. And I can do way more than other people. Like that's where all my self-worth came from. And it served me for a long time, but also ended up being the thing that like started to sink the ship. So after like 3-ish months of horrible brain fog, it started to turn into chronic fatigue symptoms as well. So if no one is familiar with that, they might have heard this term. It's not the feeling of being tired. It's it's like you have a 0 out of 100 battery. It's like someone's charging their battery off of yours. It's pure despair. It's helplessness. It's not the same as being sleepy. It has nothing to do with how much sleep you've gotten. You could sleep for hours and hours and hours and you will still feel the exact same when you wake up. Just
general lack of motivation, like a depressed feeling too.
Extremely, yeah. And I had no idea why I was feeling this way. And I was so mad and angry and frustrated. And now I know a year later that being mad, frustrated, and stressed about these feelings actually are the thing that makes them so much worse. So it kept getting worse to the point where I like couldn't work anymore. Like I would have to lay on the couch all day or lay in bed all day. And we had to cancel a bunch of videos in October of 2023. I think we only posted like 2 videos. I was just so freaking in the weeds, so scared, so bummed, so
capital B burnt out throughout life.
And I was like, I can't do this. Like Lauren was like having to basically prop me up to get me up to work for 30 minutes. Then I'd have to go sleep for an hour. Then we'd work for 30 minutes. Then I'd sleep for an hour. And what I really should have done was just like take all that time off. Maybe, I don't know what the right call was. I think the only way to get through that is to go through it, try shit, be frustrated. And eventually you come to some understanding of what's happening. So
and you have all these people in the comments, and especially when we did announce that Brian's mom had passed, we announced that I think we were skipping a couple videos maybe, and everybody, like you guys probably watching this, were like, take all the time you need, we'll be here.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to read those comments, but for some reason, and I'm saying we because we are a partnership, we're in this together, like we couldn't hear that because there was always this thought that the YouTube overlords are there and you will be punished in some way for skipping.
Yeah, it's a sickness, honestly.
It is.
It's not good. And it just comes from such a place of lack. And yeah, so around December, I, was starting to get help from functional medicine doctors. Traditional medicine had nothing to say for these symptoms. The functional medicine world is also, I have a love-hate relationship there. Not love-hate, but I have frustrations there because if you're not familiar, functional medicine, they do a lot of testing. It's more holistic than allopathic medicine, just your general practitioner. And so they do a lot of tests to see, do you have heavy metals? Do you have viral overload? Do you have bacterial overgrowth in your gut? All kinds of stuff. And it is kind of, for me at least, it became a fear-based thing where I need to figure out the exact thing that's wrong with me and I need to fix that thing. And I felt very out of control because I was really afraid of all these things that could be wrong with me, mold or metals. At any given time, I've been diagnosed with all of those things. You know, it was Epstein-Barr virus, then it was
long COVID,
then it was heavy metals, and then it was mold. And, you know, maybe yes to all the above, but in the end, I think that it was just was a stress disease. And I got stuck, my nervous system got stuck in a loop of stress and could not get out of it. So the only way through that is to kind of surrender and believe that it's all going to work out. You know, like I don't think there's for me personally, there's some supplement routine or some perfect treatment that was going to get it done. It was just like, I am fundamentally burnt out in a deep way. And I need to change the person I am that grinded themselves into this position, and also like the person that was unable to grieve in the first place, who had no understanding of like their emotions or how to feel them. So all that to being said is that I'm feeling way, way better now. I have almost all my energy back, if not all of it. And
you fundamentally changed though.
Yeah, I had to. If you don't change, the symptoms stay. That's how it worked for me. So anybody out there who is having chronic symptoms and struggling and knows that pain, just know that I feel you. I've been there. It's very hard, and you'll get through it. And
unclench.
Yeah, you'll get through it. And if you ever want to reach out in the comments or whatever, I'm here to listen, because I know that, you know, it fundamentally forced me to become a more mellow person who doesn't prioritize work as much as they used to, who is more present and is trying to build more self-love so that what I'm doing right now can be done in perpetuity. Because there's like a bunch of times over the last year where I was like, it's not like that I want to quit, it's that I cannot do this. I don't have the energy, I don't have the motivation. And when you're feeling this chronic fatigue feeling, any kind of pressure to do anything creates 50 times more stress and 50 times more symptoms. So anyways, that's just like a long way of saying I'm back. No, I don't know. Anyways, that's the full story. It's not fun, but I think there's probably some people out there who would be interested in hearing that.
I mean, I don't know if we want to continue on this topic, but some people have asked, like, what are your favorite forms of self-care? So I guess in this context, you know, what are just a couple of the things that you've done to sort of overcome?
Well, for me, I didn't really start making progress on the symptoms until I had a better understanding of what was going on. So I read a book called The Secret Language of the Body, which kind of informed me how the nervous system works, the stages of fight or flight, rest and digest, vagal, freeze, you know, dorsal, all that stuff. Like, to know that I'm good, my body wants to heal me, but have currently wired myself into a permanent fight or flight, and that is extremely draining energy wise. So anyways, that gave me a fundamental understanding of what was going on and enabled me to feel empowered to start making changes. So the other stuff that's really helped me has been Joe Dispenza's meditations. Whatever, some people have opinions about him that are negative. For me, it's just allowed me to feel positive emotion more fully and allow myself to rewire from fight or flight stress boy to more open, loving guy who feels empowered. And then also too, just trying not to be so freaking cerebral and intellectualize everything. So that means being more centered in your body, whatever that means for you, like somatic practice, like yoga or whatever, like all those things really started to create a sense of safety, which was what I was missing in all of this. When your body thinks it's unsafe, or when your brain thinks your body is unsafe, it's going to create all these symptoms to just get you back into bed, because that's the only place in the universe to your body that is safe. So those are like the major levers for me. Also, dude, just like taking it easy.
Yeah. Slowing down, allowing goofing, and then not being hard on yourself for goofing.
Yeah. Every minute of my adult life was spent trying to figure out what's next. How can I get through this faster so I can do more? How can I load this plate up more? And that type of person I feel like is really destined to some kind of chronic illness in the future, because your body is just not designed to operate at a high level of stress indefinitely. So for me, it's been just being like, hey, if the video is not ready, it's not ready. Like, it's not the end of the world.
He has to tell me this. He just did this morning, actually.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to go on vacation. And he was like, if it doesn't get done, it's fine. And I'm like, is it though?
Yeah. You create all these stakes in your life.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful now for this whole process, because it has made me be a more open, whole, loving person. And I'm on a journey where that's going to hopefully continue into the future, and not this like, I'm going to dominate life. I'm going to grind and get it all done and be the most like high performance individual, like that just wasn't working.
So now we're switching it to a segment I've called Hot Takes. Just some questions that could be considered controversial.
Ruby is running around.
Whoa.
She's got the zooms. All right, rip it.
What is something other chefs do that you disagree with?
Oh, when in a restaurant context, when it comes to chef stuff, putting flowers and a bunch of microgreens on dishes, I don't agree with. I used to be that guy, and I reject that now. It's too fussy. Let's say like home cook wise, the chef voices that are on the internet, the thing that I disagree with is just their vibe. Now, let me clarify. It's like there's a certain type of personality that really wants to make cooking seem harder or more technical or more
tough.
More tough, more serious, more elevated than it is. This dish is so much better than the others, or there's no way you could ever do this at home without my years of training, or something like that. I don't know. Just yuck. I'm sick of it.
Cool your jets.
I'm sick of it. I don't like it. There's a few guys out there that are a little bit kind of macho like that. I don't agree with it. It's not my style. It serves them, but.
Do you hate people as much as I do that spell Brian with a Y?
Here's the thing. I don't want to say that there's a right way and a wrong way, but if you were to misvowel me, okay, throw a Y in there when it's supposed to be an I, let's just say that I'm not gonna forget it.
But I'm gonna throw this at you. Like, what if you spelled Ryan Rian? That's weird.
That's fine. Actually, the guy who ruined Star Wars spells his name like that.
F, marry, kill. Bread, pasta, rice.
I would F bread, marry rice, kill pasta.
Correct answer. Name drop some celebrities you've cooked for in your restaurant days.
Ooh, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Alex has cooked for Drake, the recording artist Drake.
Jimmy was Drake on Degrassi.
Yeah. I'm not Canadian, so I don't know anything about Drake. Just kidding. I would say I also cooked for David Chang, who's kind of a celebrity.
James Vanderbeek. Dawson, guys.
James Vanderboozle. Who else? A bunch of people. I mean, when I worked in Chicago at Sepia, there was a ton of celebrities that came through there. I feel like Oprah came in one time.
You're saying Oprah in passing like it's no big deal.
When I worked at Sepia, a lot of celebrities came through, but I can't remember them all.
And you probably didn't even know it.
The highlight was Ashton, though. It was all downhill from Ashton.
Okay, tell them about what he did after the meal.
Okay. I think he was trying to be nice, but he came up to the pass and after every dish pretty much and was like, dude, that was so awesome. And it's like, cool. But I think that, I don't know, it just seemed a little self-indulgent. Like he thought that his approval meant a lot to us.
You know, if you think of it that way, like maybe he thought he was gifting you with like...
Yeah, I think he thought he was doing something nice.
That's kind of cute if you think about it from that way.
But if also like a random patron were to get up in between each course and be like, dude, loved it. You'd be like, okay,
sit down.
Thanks. Like, I have work to do.
Do you watch the YouTube Reacts videos that react to your videos? And what do you think of them?
I'll be honest. I've seen a couple. And they're fine. I think in general... Reacts content a little cringe for me, not my favorite. Most people have nice things to say. The pasta guy has lots of neg things to say.
He's so neg. Why do you got to do that?
That's his deal. Good for him. I'm glad I'm not that guy though.
Yeah.
Where like the thing I put on the internet is judging other people's shit. That's sucks. Also, I'm not or don't claim to be some authentic Italian cuisine wizard or expert. So if you want to judge me on that level, fine. I really don't care. I think the recipes that I put out work for the people they're intended for. So
True that.
react to that, bro.
What Hogwarts house are you really in?
I'm a Ravenclaw through and through. What about you?
Hufflepuff.
Alex?
Obviously.
Yeah, I'd say Gryffindor.
Agree.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm role-playing as a Griffey today, but in my heart, I'm a Raven.
Yeah.
Now we're into the lightning round.
So this is from somebody in St. Louis. What's your go-to coffee order and coffee shop in St. Louis?
Decaf Americano at Blueprint on Watson. I'm lame. Can't handle a lot of caffeine.
Hidden talents.
I'm like a 8 handicap golfer. That's decent, right?
What are your favorite pizza toppings?
Pepperoni.
If you were a flavor of ice cream, what would it be?
Ooh, I would be chocolate chip cookie dough.
Favorite cheese and cheese pairing?
I'm a basic guy. I like aged white cheddar. I'm going to say Prairie Breeze is
Yum.
the goat cheese of all time. Pair it with a whatever sweet thing, like a fig jam on a cracker. Love it. If we're looking for like a fancy...
Rapid fire, babe.
If we're looking for a fancy cheese, I got to get this off my chest.
Okay.
Favorite fancy cheese is definitely going to be Red Hawk. That's like a wash-drying cheese from Cowgirl. It's good.
If you could live in any fictional universe, what would you choose?
Star Wars.
Woo. Rapid fire roundup of St. Louis favorites and hidden gems. Let's go 5. 5 of them.
Oh, man. Okay. I would say... I'm not going to mention the Union Loafers suite of restaurants because that...
Lightning round.
Babe, you're rushing my ass.
That's the point of lightning round.
I would say the places that I'm most excited about right now would be Balkan Treat Box, Wright's Tavern, Taqueria Merida, Bistro La Florison, and Chili Spot, dude. Ooh, baby, Chili Spot is sickeningly good.
Favorite Star Wars movie?
New Hope.
Least favorite?
Ooh, no. What did I just say?
I have no idea.
It's clearly Empire Strikes Back. Sorry, guys.
Least favorite?
The Rian Johnson one.
I don't even remember what it's called. The Force Awakens? Barf. I hate it.
Favorite ingredient to cook with?
Garlic.
Least favorite?
Okay, I think I've said this before, but I hate eggplant most of the time. Another ingredient that I don't really like is zucchini. Not a lot of flavor, very wet.
Current favorite U.S. food city?
New York. It's hard to not say New York. The food is good.
Favorite food city globally?
Seoul.
And what would you produce if you were to own a farm?
That's a fun question. I would say duck meat. No, if I was going to have a farm, I wouldn't really want to have a vegetable farm. That used to be something that was like a huge goal of mine. I was a big vegetable gardener. But I think that is a very, very hard life. I think being a farmer in general is a hard life, but vegetable farmers especially. I'd probably go for like free-range beef. Why not?
Here's mine.
What?
Fungi.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
I would farm like hens of the woods.
You got it.
Hen of the woods.
What else?
Can you cultivate those? That's all I have.
That's all the questions?
Those are all the questions.
All right. Hey, if you guys like this video, why don't you just go ahead and give it a like and maybe comment, loved it.
You've watched for 45 minutes. Why not give it a like?
That's right. And also, if you want that knife that we mentioned at the beginning of the vid, it's available for sale. Link is in the description. Please give it a try. Let me know what you think. I think you're going to love it. As always, guys, thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time.